What is up, my mates of YouTube? My name is Aussie Marcel, and in today's video we're going to be pitting two affordable Calvin Klein fragrances against one another. We've got CK Free for men and CK Escape for men, and I'll be letting you know which one I prefer. So if that sounds good to you, let's get into the video. What is up, mates? Just a quick little thing before I get into the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so by hitting the big red subscribe button down below. I've monetized my videos now, and every subscription and every view, every thumbs up, it all helps out immensely. I know I do things a little differently from pretty much every other fragrance creator there is here on YouTube, and I plan on keeping it that way. So if you want to help me out, do so by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you very much, guys. Before I compare CK Free and CK Escape, I'm curious to know what your favorite Calvin Klein fragrance is. So if you have a favorite Calvin Klein fragrance, drop it in the comments below. A little background before we get into this. CK Escape is from 1993 and CK Free is from 2009. So there's close to a 20-year difference between the two. As far as the presentation goes, you know, pretty basic, pretty plain, but CK Escape kind of looks like it'd be appropriate like on a beachside holiday. I don't know, there's just something about like that almost papyrus kind of color of the box here. I don't know, there's just something I like about it versus the, you know, the understated minimalism of CK Free. Yeah, so if we're merely going by presentation and packaging here, I would go for CK Escape, but obviously that's not a big deal. Now when it comes to the presentation of the bottles themselves, CK Free, CK Escape, they both look decent, they both feel decent, they both have plastic caps. I would still probably go with Escape here just because of the cylindrical bottle, but when it comes to the presentation, aside from an impulse buy in a store, it's not that important unless you're going into that more premium sort of look and feel. But for a $35 Australian fragrance, they're both decent and they're gonna get the job done. CK Free on the tester strip. Very masculine, aromatic, some woody notes here as well. And there's like an almost soft, spicy quality to this one as well. And there is a little bit of soapiness. I'm quite a fan of it. It reminds me a little bit of some of the Nautica scents, but less juvenile, more mature. For the $35 price point, it is quite a beautiful smelling men's fragrance. Now, CK Escape. I remember this one being more unique. The atomizer of CK Free is better. CK Escape is an interesting scent. It's aromatic. It's almost a little herbal in the opening as well, and there's some fruity notes here as well. I get an obvious melon note. Then there's some woodiness. And it's somewhat aquatic as well. It does sort of smell like a beachside getaway, sort of like I mentioned with the, you know, the papyrus colored box here. Both fragrances are quite nice. If you're after the more obviously masculine one of the two, go with CK Free. This one does open with a more traditionally masculine sort of style. Having said that though, if you want to stand out from the crowd a little bit more, CK Escape is going to be a good option. I would say CK Escape is the better buy for summer and the warmer months, whereas CK Free, if you're trying to pick between one or the other at the $35 price point, is going to be more suitable for the colder months, just because it's a touch sharper, more masculine and more aromatic. It is much more reminiscent. It smells more old school than CK Escape does, which is kind of weird, but I respect that a lot. CK Escape, despite being from the early 90s, it smells way more modern than CK Free. It smells like it could have come out in 2015, 2020. There is something about this one, there's something about CK Escape that just, it's very revitalizing. It's got this kind of unique, revitalizing quality to it. It must be the combination of those herbal elements and the fruit in here, especially the melon. I find melon to be one of those notes that on paper doesn't sound that interesting, but in practice when you smell it and when it's presented in a nice way, like in Nordica Voyage. Now, another important consideration when it comes to looking at fragrances, especially when you're comparing two fragrances by the same brand at the same price, is performance. CK Free on my skin lasts for about 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours with 3 sprays, and CK Escape lasts for about 7 to 8 hours with 3 sprays on my skin. CK Free, decent performance. CK Escape, good performance. Both aren't incredible, but that's not really the point when it comes to looking at these $35 cents, at least $35 Australian. The advantage of these affordable Calvin Klein fragrances is that everybody can access them. If you go to a Chemist Warehouse right now for $35 Australian, you can pick CK Free, you can pick CK Escape, or even CK Eternity if you want. I thought I would pit CK Escape and CK Free against one another purely because there's not a lot of coverage about them online, yet I'm always seeing people in the comments asking me to talk about them. I'm a big fan of both and I'm glad I purchased both. My personal preference and pick between the two would be CK Free. Having said that though, if this was summer, my decision may be a little different because CK Escape is very unique. It's fruity, aromatic and herbal as well. There's a lot to like about CK Escape. But I'm curious to know what you guys would pick if you had to pick between CK Free and CK Escape. Let me know in the comments below, and until the next video, my name is Ozzy Marcel, and I'll catch you guys around. Decision may be a little different because CK Escape is very unique. It's fruity, it's aromatic and herbal